I noticed it before anyone said anything. It wasn't obvious. Just a small hesitation when my mom handed out the printed confirmations at the restaurant table. She slid them across to my sister and her husband, then to my uncle. The papers made a soft, deliberate sound against the wood. Nothing came my way. At first I thought it was timing. Maybe she hadn't printed mine yet. Maybe it was in her bag. But she leaned back after, folding her hands like the task was complete. No one asked. I didn't either. Not immediately. There's a kind of instinct you develop when you've been the uncertain variable in a room for too long. You don't interrupt the pattern. You study it first. They moved on to discussing the itinerary, check-in times, breakfast options, which rooms had a view. My name didn't come up once. Not even accidentally. It settled slowly, not confusion, not even hurt yet, just a quiet understanding that something had been decided without me. I asked carefully, almost casually, which room am I in? My mom didn't look at me right away. She reached for her water, took a sip, then said, "Oh, we thought you might not come." It was said lightly, as if she were explaining a misplaced umbrella. I nodded, but I did. A pause. My sister leaned back in her chair, watching me with that familiar half-smile, the kind that always seemed like it was waiting for a moment like this. "Well," she said, tilting her head slightly, "a failure doesn't deserve to travel with this family anyway." No one reacted. That was the part that stayed with me, not the word. I'd heard variations of it before, but the absence of correction, the way the table absorbed it like it belonged there. I didn't feel angry. That surprised me. What I felt was clarity, like something that had been blurry for years suddenly came into focus. All the small exclusions, the jokes that landed a little too precisely, the way decisions were made around me instead of with me, it all aligned into something simple. I wasn't part of this, not in the way that mattered. I placed my napkin neatly beside my plate. "Then I'll leave," I said. No one stopped me. My chair slid back with a soft scrape. It sounded louder than it should have. For a second I thought someone might say my name. Not to argue, not to apologize, just to acknowledge. Nothing came. I walked out. The air outside was cooler than I expected. It felt different immediately, less dense, less negotiated. I didn't have a plan. I just kept walking until the noise of the restaurant faded behind me. There's a strange stillness that comes after you remove yourself from something that's been weighing on you for years. It's not relief, not exactly. More like the absence of pressure you didn't fully realize was constant. I checked into a smaller hotel down the street, nothing fancy. The front desk clerk didn't ask questions beyond what was necessary. I appreciated that. Just a room, a key, a quiet space that didn't require me to prove anything. I sat on the edge of the bed for a while, not turning on the lights. My phone buzzed once. Then again, I didn't check it. It wasn't avoidance. I just wasn't ready to re-enter that version of myself yet. The one who explained, defended, minimized. Time passed. I don't know how much. Eventually, I stood up, washed my face, and looked at myself in the mirror. I didn't look different, but something had shifted, not outwardly, not in a way anyone else would notice right away, just internally, like a decision had been made without needing to be announced. Later that night, there was a knock on my door, not aggressive, not hesitant either, just steady. I opened it to find a hotel staff member standing there, holding a folder. "Are you with the con reservation group?" he asked. I hesitated, then nodded slightly. I was. He gave a small, professional smile. "There's been a situation regarding the booking. I was asked to confirm some details with all listed guests." I didn't say anything, just let him continue. He opened the folder. The reservation was made with specific instructions. Room assignments were designated in advance, including exclusions. The word landed differently coming from him. "Neutral, documented, not emotional." "Exclusions," I repeated. He glanced down briefly. "Yes, your name was removed from the final booking list 2 days ago. The request came directly from the primary account holder, my mom. He didn't say it, but he didn't need to. There's also a note," he added almost as an afterthought. "It specifies that no additional accommodation should be arranged under the group's billing." It was thorough, deliberate. I felt something then. Not sharp, not overwhelming. Just a quiet confirmation of what I already knew. "This is standard protocol?" he continued. "But given the nature of the request, management wanted to ensure there were no misunderstandings." There weren't. I nodded once. "There aren't." He closed the folder. "Understood. If you need anything during your stay, please let us know." And then he left. No drama. No judgment. Just a clear external acknowledgement of what had happened. That was the unthinkable part. Not that they excluded me, but that it existed outside of them now. It wasn't just a family dynamic anymore. It was a recorded decision, something witnessed, something that didn't rely on interpretation or denial. I sat back down after he left. For a moment, I tried to imagine going back, sitting at that table again, pretending none of this had weight. I couldn't, not because I was angry, because it would have required me to ignore something I had finally seen clearly. My phone buzzed again. This time I checked it. A message from my sister. "You're being dramatic." Another from my mom. "Come back. We'll figure something out." I stared at the screen for a while. Then I put the phone down, not as a statement, not as a punishment, just, Because I didn't have anything to add, the next morning I woke up earlier than usual. The city was quieter at that hour. Less performative. I went downstairs, had breakfast alone. It wasn't uncomfortable, just unfamiliar. I realized something simple while sitting there. I wasn't waiting anymore, not for approval, not for inclusion, not for someone to decide I belonged. It didn't feel empowering in the way people describe it. It felt steady. Like standing on ground that didn't shift under someone else's opinion. I checked out later that day. No one from my family came looking, no one called again. And somehow that made everything clearer. Some things don't end with confrontation or resolution. They just stop continuing. And in that absence, you finally understand what was holding you in place. I didn't feel victorious. I didn't feel defeated either. Just aligned with myself. For the first time in a long while, that felt like enough.